everybody, welcome to a wonderful reading. I'm Zoe welcome. So basically in this tarot card reading, it's going to be for Virgo. Virgo is going to be for this whole entire situation. It's going to be very interesting in how intensely it would be. It'll be for June 3rd to June 13th of 2025. So basically in this whole entire reading, I just want to say something to you all that this is just the way of how it goes. This is the way of how we can understand about how it seems to be in this whole entire play-by-play situation. Basically, basically you have to understand about how you can do what you can to, invite of how you're feeling, the way how you can, do what it takes. But then you have to understand about how you can understand of how you're feeling, how you're going to, be who you are and all that stuff. But the way how this is, you have to understand that this is just the way it seems to be, and you have to know that when you're playing by the rules, you have to pay attention. And those rules are, if you're being a Virgo as a woman or a guy situation, you pay attention on how you're feeling, because this is just like how it is, like first come first serve. That's the way it goes. But the way how this is, the way how you can try to understand about how you're feeling, just the way it seems to be. So we have to understand what's going on in that way. We have to improve ourselves wisely. We have to get the better of this whole entire situation, because that's the way it seems to be. We have to understand that, because we have to improve ourselves wisely to understand what we are going to be doing, because of this is how it kind of is. This is like how intense it seems to be. And you have to know from that way, right? We have to figure out how it is. Because in that way about how it is, this is the way it seems to be. You think that, okay, well, everything's fine, I know what to do. But it's like, well, not necessarily, because you pay attention. You pay attention about how you're feeling, how you're going to do, but this is the way it seems to be. You have to know exactly what you're told to do, but you have to be responsible on how you're feeling, That's why you need to understand about how you can be it and, overachieve it, but you have to pay attention to how you're doing, that's the way it goes. And that's how it seems to be. So, this oracle card, it says, regret. I know that I cannot change the past. That's the way it goes. When you have regret, it's like you're trying to have your own responsibilities, because you have to pay attention to it. If you're feeling regret, if you're feeling like you're, thinking about the past all the time, you have to pay attention to it, right? You have to know what it takes, because you have to do exactly what you're told to do. You have to be responsible. You have to be how it is, right? You have to understand that. You can't be compulsive. You can't be mean. You can't be rude. You can't be, disrespectful. But if you're trying to get all the attention that you want, you have to pay attention to it. That's why it seems to be. Because when you do that, you need to understand, alright, well, this thing seems to be, I got this, alright. This is the way it seems to be. But when you feel regret, that's how it seems to be in that way. You have to understand of what you're looking for, but it's based on that, of how it seems to be. Alright, that's the way it goes, okay? So you have to know exactly what you're told to do. So I'll do one card of a reading. I'm going to go from the left side and the right side, but this is the way it seems to be in that way, and this is how it's going to be. It's going to be a very interesting story, or the way of how this reading is going to go, but this is how it is. So here we go. So basically of how this is remaining is that you have to pay attention on how you're feeling, on the way how this is, because the way of how this is of experiencing, you pay attention on how it is. So when you have the 10 Pentacles upright, you have a career. You pay attention what you're going to do, because in theory you have the basically of your whole entire agenda to pay attention about it. So if you have a career, you pay attention to it, right? So you could be focusing on either Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus in one or another, because that's the way it seems to be. You need to be how you're feeling in one or another, and you say, all right, I need to do this. I need to exactly how I can be who I am. That's the way it goes, right? So you have to have your own your own abilities from the right and wrong perspective, but you have to pay attention on how you, decide about how it is, right? You have to understand about from the way of how you're feeling, the way how you're going to get, what you want, you have to be sincere, you have to do exactly how it is, be educated, be, genuine, educated, whatever it is, right? dedication. That's the way it seems to be. You have to pay attention about how you're feeling and one or another, and you have to do exactly what you're told to do. You have to understand about how you can believe that everything seems to be fine, but then it's the way it goes. So let me see what's going on. Basically from the middle to the left, middle to the right. Three of Cups reversed, Eight of Cups reversed, the High Priestess reversed, the Sun card reversed, but the Page of Wands is upright, followed with the King of Pentacles is upright. Yeah, because you want security, you want, the way how it is, it's like how it seems to be. So when you're in negativity, it's like you're thinking, why am I negative? Why? Because, things are not going as planned. And when you do that, you have to put yourself into that matter of time. So if you have the Three of Cups reversed, if you have the Eight of Cups reversed, if you have the High Priestess reversed, it means that, the Three of Cups reversed, there's no celebration. Eight of Cups reversed, there's no entertainment. The High Priestess reversed, there's no using your inner voice, whatever it is, right? That's the way it goes. If you're in negativity, you're staying in it, And when you're feeling negative, it's like you can't get out until you decide about it, Because if you're feeling regret, if you're feeling how you're trying to expose of how you're feeling, you're trying to understand that. So you have to pay attention on whether you decide about knowing what to do, but then it's like, okay, well, this seems to be, I got this. It's like, yeah, but it doesn't make sense. In reality, you have to pay attention to what you're doing, but that's how it seems to be. You have to use the force. You have to use whatever you want, but then you have to do exactly how it is. Use your own ability from the wrong perspective. That's all you can do, but then that's what it seems to be, alright? What's happening between the middle and the right side, please? The Ten of Wands reversed, follow the Devil is upright, follow the Two of Wands is upright, follow the Queen of Wands is upright. Yeah, because you want charisma, you want, you're acting like you're being mean and rude, because there's the Devil here, so it could be Capricorn as you're dealing with, there lots of negativity. It's like, why are you feeling like that? You need to understand about how you can do it in one or another. It's like, this is the way it seems to be. You pay attention to what you're doing because of how it is, right? This is so intense. When it's so intense, it's like, why you're feeling like this, Things are not going as planned. Things are not going your way, but you pay attention. You pay attention about how you're feeling in one or another. You have to do what you're told to do because you have to be responsible on how you're doing. This is the way it seems to be. It's cause and effect of emotions, because that's the way it goes, right? It could be being like a basically emotion switch, right? Which means that your emotions are from negative and it's beyond that point, right? That's the way it goes. But you have to understand about how you're facing in one or another. That's the way it goes. What's in the middle of this situation? Page of Cups is upright, yeah, because you want to have the way how this is, you need to have your ability from having loyalty, So you have to understand about whatever it takes, you pay attention to it, right? If you want people to respect you or anything like that, you need to understand that. It's the way of how it is, because you have to be sincere, right? When you have sincere, you have to know what it takes, because about that, how you can understand how you're feeling in one or another. This is the way of how it is. It's like how you can understand that. That's the way it seems to be. So let's see what's going on from the left side perspective. The Judgment is upright, you're going to take action. The Emperor is upright, you want structure. The High Priest is upright, you want to use your own voice. The Sun card is upright, you want positivity. The Magician is upright because you want skill. You pay attention on how you're feeling in one way or another. It's like, okay, this is the way it seems to be. I know what to do. I got this. But then it's like, okay, that's fine, right? So if you're taking action, if you want skill, if you want positivity, if you want use your inner voice, that's fine. If you want structure, you basically believe it. You have to know what it takes, Virgo. You have to pay attention about it, because the way how this is, you have to know exactly what it takes, because you pay attention what you're going through. This is the way of how it is, because you have to understand, alright, well, I know what to do, I got this, alright, so be it. That's the way it seems to be. So what's happening between the middle and the right side? Judgment is upright, you want to take action. Taurus reversed, you're not healing. Death card is upright because you want Scorpio. The Magician is upright, you want skill. Fool reverse, there's no change. Chariot reverse, there's no progress. Moon is upright, there's misrotations. Yeah, because that's the way it goes, right? That's the way it seems to be. What's up with this Temperance card? The Devil reverse, so there's no obsessions. The Heart is upright, there's transformations. You know, because everything is transforming. It's like, you know, that's the way it kind of goes. I need to figure this out, you know, because that's the way it seems to be. You have to play by the rules, right? Because you have to pay attention to it. Whether you're going to act to have loyalty or self-respect, you pay attention to what you're going through, you know, and you have to understand that precise is the key, right? You have to know that because every single silver lining in every single relationship or beyond that point, whether if you're in a relationship or not, it all depends on your point of view. You know, that's why it seems to be. And when you do that, you have to know exactly what it takes because that's the way it seems to be. You know, that's why you need to understand about comparing yourself from others, or if you pay attention about what's going on, right? You do exactly what you're told to do, but then you have to know exactly what it takes. That's why it seems to be that. You know, that's why you need to understand about how you're feeling in one or another, because that's the way it seems to be. So let's see what's going on from the middle to the right side, middle to the left side. So I'll do something differently. King of Cups upright, you want support. 5 Swords reverse, you don't have conflict. 7 Wands is upright, you want resilience. The Chariot is upright, you want progress. 2 Pentacles upright, because you're balancing two things at once. You know, that's the way it goes. So, you know, things are going to be all great because you pay attention on how you're feeling, because that's how it's based on that. What's up between the middle and the left side? 3 Pentacles reverse, there's no celebration. The Emperor reverse, there's no structure. Knight of Swords reverse, there's no drama. The King of Swords upright, there's knowledge here. There's justice reverse, you're not telling the truth. Queen of Cups reverse, there's no empathy. The Hangman is upright, there's restrictions. Yeah, because when you have restrictions, you pay attention about how you're feeling, because that's the way it goes, right? It's like how it seems to be. So let me clarify this 2 Pentacles here. The 8 Cups is upright, you want entertainment. 5 Cups reverse, there's no grief. But the Knight of Cups is upright, you want romance. Alright, that's the same outcome. Alright, that's how it is. What's up between this Hangman here? Clarify. The Lover is upright, you want to make decisions. The reverse, there's no obsessions. But the 9 Pentacles upright gives you want comfort. Yeah, because that's the way it seems to be, right? So when you're making decisions, when you have comfort, you know, you pay attention, right? If you want romance, you pay attention. If you want, you know, the way how you can do it, that's why it seems to be, right? It's like how you can understand about how you're feeling, because that's the way it seems to be, right? This is not a mini pause situation. If it is, fine, but you have to pay attention about how you're feeling, you know, because you have to know about what it takes, because about how it seems to be. You're not trying to feel regret, but when you do that, that's why it seems to be. It's like how you can understand that in one or another, you know, because that's what it seems to be in that way. So let's see what's happening. I'm going to go from the middle to the right side, middle to the left side. So it's going to be a little bit different. So 3 of Swords is upright because there's heartbreak. 6 of Cups reverse, there's no past. 5 Wands upright, there's chaos. 3 Pentacles reverse, there's no perfection. Strength reverse, you're not having bravery. And the Page of Swords upright, there's education. Yeah, because you're being educated, right? Because when you have education, you basically pay attention about having your own education. You have what it takes, because that's the way it goes, right? You have to understand about if people want to look at you in a different angle, a different perspective, you have to pay attention to it, right? If you're acting like you're being all mean or rude or disrespectful, why you're feeling like that, you know? If you want loyalty, you have to be who you are. You have to see what it takes. If you want people to pay attention to you or look at you, whatever it is, you pay attention to it, you know? So it's like if you want to know about how you're feeling, if you compare to one person to another person of how you're feeling, you know what it takes, right? That's why it seems to be Virgo. You pay attention on how you're feeling, because that's the way it goes. You have to go with the flow. You know, that's the way it seems to be. What's happening between the middle and the left side? The Empress is upright, there's nourishment. The 9 of Cups is upright, there's fulfillment. 10 of Wands is upright, there's burdens. Ten of Cups, there's completion. Knight of Wands, there's immaturity. Yeah, exactly. Because you're trying to understand about how you're feeling because you're acting like that. It's like, why? Why am I acting like this? Because that's the way it seems to be, you know? What's in the middle of this situation? The Three of Cups, there's celebration. Yeah, there's going to be celebration. Alright. So that's the way it goes. What's happening between this Knight of Wands here? The Three of Pentacles here, there's no excitement. Ten of Swords, there's conclusions, right? But just alright, you're telling the truth. Alright, that's the way it goes. Alright. What's happening with this Three of Cups here on the between the middle of the situation? The Seven of Cups, there's a delusion. The Knight of Pentacles, there's trust. Yeah, because you know exactly how you're feeling because you're trying to get what you want, you know? And when you want romance or you want, you know, be who you are and you're looking for love or you're looking for relationships, you have to know what it takes. So let me clarify this. The Strength card that's reversed because it's there's no bravery here. You're being scared. I don't know why you're being scared, but let me clarify, alright? So let's see what's happening on the left side. So there's the Ace of Swords here, there's a misunderstanding. The Two of Wands here, there's no planning. The Queen of Swords, you want to show independence, yeah, because you want to do things on your own, right? And when you do, you have to know what it takes because that's the way it goes, right? So if you're feeling like you're going to have regret, you pay attention on how you're feeling because it's based on how you can do it and one or another. It's like how you can understand that, right? So you have to pay attention on how you're feeling because that's the way it goes, right? You have to concur about what's going on in that way, right? That's why everything has to be not fragile, but the way how this is, you have to pay attention on how you're feeling. It's based on how you going to get what you want, what you need, but that's how it seems to be, right? You pay attention on how you're feeling because that's the way it goes, right? You have to pay attention about this whole entire reading because it makes sense, and that's how it is, right? So I hope you all like this video. Please understand that this is just how the reading is, and this is the way it seems to be. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful day to you all, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye for now. Really, thank you, and bye.